Space was quiet as always. Nothing moved in the darkness between the stars. Nothing until a small dot appeared. Captain Jake Williams sat in his chair on the bridge of the horizon. The ship moved slowly through space. Jake looked at the stars, through the big window. He loved this view. After 20 years in space, he still felt like a kid looking at the night sky. "Captain, we've got something," said Amy Parker. She was his chief engineer. Her fingers moved over her control panel. "Looks like ships, big ones." Jake turned his chair. "How many?" 6, maybe 7. Amy frowned at her screen. "They're huge, much bigger than us." Jake stood up. The horizon was small compared to most ships. It was built for exploring, not fighting. "Are they moving toward us?" "Yes, sir, they'll be here in 10 minutes. Jake pressed a button on his armrest. "All crew to the bridge, this is not a drill." The door opened. Jack Turner walked in. He was the ship's pilot. Behind him came Lisa Morgan, the science officer. They moved to their stations without speaking. "What do we have?" asked Lisa. She started working at her computer. "Unknown ships coming our way," said Jake. "Big ones." The bridge door opened again. Kate Brown, the ship's doctor, entered. She rarely came to the bridge. Her place was in the medical bay, but everyone came when the captain called. "Are they hostile?" Kate asked. "We don't know yet." Jake sat back in his chair. "Let's not jump to conclusions." Danny Chen was the last to arrive. He was young, only 25, the newest member of the crew. He took his place at the weapons station. "Weapons ready, Captain," Danny said. "Let's hope we don't need them." Jake looked at the main screen. "Amy, put the ships on screen, when you can." 30 light-years away, Commander Zixtel stood on the bridge of his command ship. His forearms moved as he gave orders to his crew. The Galactic Coalition patrol fleet had detected something strange. "What is it?" Zixtel asked. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "Unknown vessel, Commander," said his sensor officer. "It just appeared in our space." "How did it get past our sensors?" "Unknown, sir. It's small. Very small." Zixtal's 3 eyes narrowed. Small ships usually meant smugglers or pirates. "Set course to intercept. All ships. Form standard patrol pattern." The Coalition fleet moved together. 6 massive warships, each one a kilometer long. They had protected this part of space for 100 years. No ship entered without permission. "Sir, the vessel is slowing down," the sensor officer reported. "They've seen us," said Zixtal. "Good. Maybe they'll surrender without a fight." Back on the horizon, the crew watched as the alien ships appeared on their screen. The ships were enormous. Each one was 10 times bigger than the horizon. "Well, they're definitely not here to sell cookies," said Jack. Jake smiled despite the tension. "Let's stay calm." "Amy, are they trying to communicate?" "Nothing yet, Captain, but they're scanning us." "Let them scan. We've got nothing to hide." Jake stood up. "Lisa, what can you tell me about those ships?" Lisa studied her readings. "Advanced technology. Energy signatures I've never seen before." "They're old, Captain. These ships have been in space for a long time." "How long?" "Hundreds of years. Maybe thousands." Jake nodded. Humans had only been in space for 200 years. These aliens had been traveling the stars when humans still thought the Earth was flat. "Captain, they're hailing us," Amy announced. "Put it through." The main screen changed. An alien face appeared. It had 3 eyes and blue skin. When it spoke, the ship's computer translated the words, "Unknown vessel, you have entered Coalition space without authorization. Identify yourself immediately." Jake stepped forward. "This is Captain Jake Williams of the Earthship Horizon. We're on a peaceful exploration mission." The alien's 3 eyes blinked one at a time. "Earth? We have no record of this planet. You will submit to scanning. Any resistance will be met with force. We understand. We won't resist." Jake kept his voice calm. "May I ask who you are?" "I am Commander Zixtal of the Galactic Coalition. Remain still while we scan your vessel." "The screen went dark. Friendly bunch," said Jack. "They're just being careful," Jake replied. we'd do the same thing. On the Coalition command ship, Zixtal watched the scan results appear on his displays. The human ship was small and primitive. Its hull was made of simple metal alloys. The engines used basic fusion technology. Analysis complete, Commander, said his science officer. The vessel is extremely primitive. Technology level 3, possibly 4. Zixtal nodded. The Coalition used a scale from 1 to 10 to measure technology. Level 3 meant the species had just learned to travel between stars. The Coalition was level 8. Life signs? 7 beings. They appear to be bipedal. Oxygen breathers. No significant implants or enhancements detected. A young species, said Zixtal. Probably their first time this far from home. Sir, their weapons are minimal. Simple energy weapons. No shields worth mentioning. Zixtal felt almost sorry for these creatures. They had ventured into space with such basic technology. It was like crossing an ocean in a rowboat. Continue deep scan. Check their computer systems. Make sure they're not hiding anything. Yes, Commander. Back on the horizon, Amy watched her screens carefully. Captain, their scans are getting more intense. They're looking at everything. Let them look, said Jake. Sam, you picking this up? A voice came from the ship's speakers. It sounded young and friendly. Yes, Captain. Their scanning technology is interesting, very thorough. Just stay quiet for now. Of course, Captain. I'm just a simple ship's computer after all. There was humor in Sam's voice. Kate moved closer to Jake. Are we in danger? I don't think so. They're just being careful. Put yourself in their position. Strange ship appears in your territory. You'd want to know everything about it. Their ships could destroy us in seconds, said Danny. His hand stayed near the weapons controls. They could, but they won't. Jake sat back down. We're not a threat to them. Once they finish their scans, they'll probably send us on our way. On the Coalition ship, the science officer frowned at his displays. Commander, I'm getting some unusual readings. What kind of readings? I'm not sure. There are some anomalies in their power systems. Probably just interference from their primitive technology. Keep scanning. I want to know everything about that ship before we make contact. Yes, sir. Initiating deep scan of their computer core. The science officer started the next phase of the scan. He expected to find simple navigation computers and basic life support systems. Every young species had similar technology when they first reached the stars. But as the scan went deeper, the officer's frown grew deeper too. Commander, you should see this. Zixtal moved to the science station. What is it? Their computer system. It's not what we expected. Explain. The architecture is unlike anything in our database. The processing power seems... The officer paused. This can't be right. What can't be right? According to these readings, their computer is processing data at rates that should be impossible. It's beyond our theoretical limits. Zixtal's 3 eyes focused on the display. Check your instruments, there must be an error. I've checked 3 times, sir, the readings are accurate. On the horizon, Sam's voice whispered in Jake's ear through his personal comm. Captain, they're scanning me directly now. Should I play dumb? Jake touched his earpiece. Keep the act going, you're just a simple AI, remember? Simple. Right. I'll try to contain my vast intellect. Amy looked up from her station. Captain, their scans are focused on our computer systems now. They're really digging deep. Expected, said Jake. They want to know what we're capable of. If they keep scanning like this, they might notice that our systems aren't exactly standard. Jake nodded. The horizon looked simple on the outside. That was by design. But inside, the ship held secrets that humanity had kept hidden for decades. Them scan. They'll see what we want them to see. Commander Zixtal called an emergency meeting of his senior officers. Something was wrong with the scan results. The data makes no sense, said his science officer. Their computer shows power levels that violate physics. Could they be using quantum processing? Asked the tactical officer. Beyond that, far beyond, we're seeing something that shouldn't exist. Zixtal paced the command center. His forearms moved as he thought. Could they be hiding their true nature? Using some kind of masking technology? If they are, it's beyond anything we've encountered. Continue. Scanning. Focus on their crew, maybe we'll find answers there. As the coalition puzzled over their findings, Jake Williams smiled to himself. First contact was always tricky. Humans had learned to hide their true capabilities long ago. Let the aliens think they were primitive. Let them scan and wonder. The game was just beginning. The scanning continued for another hour. On the Coalition command ship, more officers gathered around the science station. They all stared at the impossible numbers on the screen. "Run the scan again," said Zixtal. His voice was tight with confusion. "Commander, this is the 5th scan. The results are the same." The science officer's scales had turned pale, a sign of stress in his species. Zixtal studied the data. According to their instruments, the human ship's computer was processing information at speeds that broke every law of physics they knew. It was like finding a candle that burned brighter than a star. "What about their power source?" he asked. "That's another problem, sir. Their fusion reactor is standard, but we're detecting energy signatures that don't match any known reaction. Could our scanners be malfunctioning?" "No, sir. I've tested them on our own systems. They're working perfectly." On the bridge of the Horizon, Amy Parker noticed the change in the alien scans. They were repeating the same sweeps over and over. "Captain, they're running the same scans again. I think we've confused them." Jake Williams leaned back in his chair. "Good. Confusion is better than fear." "Should we help them out?" asked Lisa Morgan. "Maybe explain a few things?" "Not yet. Let them figure it out. We need to see how they react to the unknown." Danny Chen looked up from his station. "Their weapons are powering up, Captain. Low level, but definitely active." "Are they targeting us?" "No, sir. It looks more like a precaution." Jake nodded. "Stay calm, everyone. They're just being careful." In engineering, Sam's voice spoke through the speakers. Only Amy could hear him in this section. "Their scans are quite primitive, but persistent. They're trying to understand my quantum states." Amy smiled. "Having fun?" "Oh yes. It's like playing hide and seek with children. They can see me, but they can't understand what they're seeing." Back on the Coalition ship, a new alert sounded. The tactical officer rushed to his station. "Commander, we're detecting quantum fluctuations from the human vessel." "What kind of fluctuations?" "They're organized, patterned. This isn't random quantum noise." Zixtal felt a chill run through his scales. Organized quantum patterns meant only one thing: advanced technology. Very advanced. "How advanced are these humans?" he asked quietly. "Sir, if these readings are accurate, they're using technology we've only theorized about. But their ship looks so primitive." "Yes, sir, that's what doesn't make sense." On the Horizon, Captain Williams called a quick meeting in the ready room just off the bridge. His senior crew gathered around the small table. "How long do we keep this up?" asked Jack Turner. "Until we understand their intentions," Jake replied. "We need to know if they're hostile." Kate Brown spoke up. "They seem more confused than hostile." "Confusion can lead to fear. Fear can lead to violence." Jake looked at each of his crew members. "We've trained for this. Stick to the plan." "The ship's camouflage is holding," said Amy. "They see what we want them to see, mostly." "Mostly?" "Sam's having trouble hiding all his processes. He's too complex to fully mask." Jake smiled. "That's fine. Let them get a glimpse. It'll prepare them for what's coming." Meanwhile, Commander Zixtal called for his senior science advisor, an ancient, being named Vexler. The old scientist had seen 1,000 first contacts. "Tell me what you see," said Zixtal, showing him the scan data. Vexler's ancient eyes widened. "Impossible. That's what we all say. But the data is real. No species jumps from fusion power to quantum processing. There are steps, stages. This makes no sense. Unless they're not what they appear to be." Vexler nodded slowly. "Or unless they're hiding something." Back on the human ship, Sam spoke to the entire crew. "They're getting close to understanding. Their scans are becoming more focused." "What are they looking at now?" asked Jake. "My neural pathways. They're trying to map my consciousness matrix. Lisa Morgan laughed. Good luck with that. We've been trying to understand you for years. I'm hurt, said Sam with fake sadness. I'm very simple to understand. I like long walks on the beach and quantum poetry. Focus, Sam, said Jake, but he was smiling. Yes, Captain. They're also scanning our hull more carefully. They might notice the adaptive armor soon. The Horizon's hull looked like simple metal, but it was actually a smart material that could change its properties. It could become harder than diamond or soft like foam depending on what hit it. On the alien ship, alarms started beeping. The science officer looked confused. Commander, the human hull is showing strange readings. More impossible technology? Yes, sir. The metal appears to be thinking. Metal doesn't think. This metal does, sir. It's reacting to our scans. Adapting. Zixtal's 3 eyes blinked rapidly. Every new piece of data made less sense than the last. What are we dealing with? He whispered. Captain Williams decided it was time for the next phase. He pressed a button on his chair. Sam, let them see a bit more. Open processing channel. 3. Are you sure, Captain? That will show them my true processing speed. Just for a second, give them something to think about. Yes, Captain. Opening channel 3. Now. On the Coalition ship, every alarm screamed at once. The science displays lit up with impossible numbers. Commander, their computer just... It's impossible. What happened? For 1.3 seconds, we saw its true capacity. The processing power is... It's beyond anything in the galaxy. Zixtal stared at the data. If these numbers were real, the human computer was more powerful than the combined systems of his entire fleet. Are they testing us? He asked. Or warning us, said Vexler quietly. Back on the horizon, Jake watched the alien ships carefully. They had stopped their aggressive scanning. I think we got their attention, said Amy. Good. Now let's see what they do next. The bridge was quiet for several minutes. Then a new message came through. Human vessel, this is Commander Zixtal. We need to talk. Jake stood up. I'm listening, Commander. Your ship is not what it appears to be. Few things are, Commander. We've detected technology that should not exist. Explain. Jake looked at his crew. They all nodded. It was time. Commander, what you're seeing is real, but it's just the beginning. The beginning of what? Of understanding who we really are. On the alien bridge, Zixtal felt something he hadn't felt in years. Uncertainty. Are you threatening us? No, Commander, we're offering friendship. But first you need to understand that humanity is not what you think. Then what are you? Jake smiled. We're explorers, scientists, and we've been waiting to meet someone like you. The scanners on the Coalition ship detected another change. The human vessel's power output increased slightly. Not enough to be threatening, but enough to be noticed. Commander, said the science officer, their ship is changing. Changing how? The hull composition is shifting. The engine signatures are modifying. It's like the ship is alive. Zixtal made a decision. All ships stand down weapons, maintain defensive positions only. His tactical officer looked surprised. Sir? They could have hidden from us completely. They chose to let us see. That means something. On the horizon, the crew relaxed slightly. The alien weapons were powering down. They're listening, said Lisa. That's good. Sam, Jake called out. Show them the garden. With pleasure, Captain. A section of the Horizon's hull became transparent. Inside, the aliens could see a hydroponic garden. But this was no ordinary garden. The plants moved with purpose, their leaves turning to track energy sources, their roots connected to the ship's systems. By the ancient stars, whispered Vexler. Biomechanical integration. They've merged life and technology. Zixtal watched in awe. His people had tried for centuries to create true biomechanical systems. They had always failed. Yet these humans had succeeded. How? He asked over the eye. Calm. Jake's voice was calm. We learned that life and technology aren't opposites. They're partners. This changes everything, said Vexlor. Yes, agreed Zixtal. It does. The Coalition fleet hung in space, their massive ships dwarfing the small human vessel. But size meant nothing now. The readings were clear. The humans possessed technology beyond their understanding. Captain Williams, said Zixtal formally, I think we need to start over. I am Commander Zixtal of the Galactic Coalition. We are peaceful explorers and protectors of this region of space. Pleased to meet you properly, Commander. I'm Jake Williams, Captain of the Earthship Horizon. We come in peace and friendship. Your technology, it's beyond anything we've encountered. We've had time to develop it. We've also had good teachers. Teachers. The universe itself, Commander. When you listen carefully, it tells you its secrets. Zixtal looked at his bridge crew. They all seemed stunned. First contact protocols hadn't prepared them for this. Captain Williams, would you be willing to meet in person? There's much to discuss. We'd be honored, Commander. But first, there's something else you should know. More surprises. Just one more. We're not alone out here. Humanity has been among the stars longer than you might think. The implications hit Zixtal like a shockwave. If the humans had this technology, and they had been in space for a while, how many human ships are there? Jake's answer was simple but earth-shaking. Enough, Commander, more than enough. The bridge of the Coalition ship fell silent. They had started this day thinking they'd found a primitive species taking its first steps into space. Instead, they'd discovered something that would change their understanding of the galaxy forever. The scan data continued to pour in, each reading more impossible than the last. But Zixtal was no longer looking at the screens. He was looking at the small ship on his display, wondering what other secrets it held. The universe had just become a much more interesting place. Commander Zixtal stood in the meeting room of his ship. His officers sat around the large table. Everyone looked worried. We need to prepare for the meeting, he said. These humans are not what we expected. Should we call for backup? Asked his tactical officer. No. They haven't shown any hostile intent. We proceed with caution, but we proceed. Vexlor, the old scientist, raised a thin hand. Commander, I've been thinking about their technology. The biomechanical integration we saw, it's not just advanced. It's a completely different path of development. Explain. Most species, including us, keep biology and technology separate. We build machines, we enhance our bodies, but we don't merge them. These humans have done something else entirely. They've made technology alive, said the science officer quietly. Exactly. And that changes everything we thought we knew about technological development. On the horizon, Jake Williams prepared for the meeting. His crew gathered around him in the small conference room. Remember, he said, we reveal information slowly. Let them ask questions. Should I come with you? Asked Amy Parker. Yes. And Lisa, too. We'll keep the group small, non-threatening. What about weapons? Asked Danny Chen. No weapons. We're trying to build trust. Kate Brown handed Jake a small device. Medical scanner, just in case their atmosphere is different. Thanks. Jake put the device in his pocket. Sam, you'll monitor everything? Of course, Captain. Sam's voice came from the speakers. I'll be watching. If anything goes wrong, I can have help there in seconds. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. A shuttle from the Coalition ship approached the horizon. Jake, Amy, and Lisa stood in the airlock waiting. They wore simple uniforms, nothing fancy or military-looking. The airlock hissed open. 3 aliens stepped through. Commander Zixtal was tall, with 4 arms and blue scales. Beside him stood Vexlor, old and bent, and another alien who looked like a walking crystal. Welcome aboard the Horizon, said Jake. Thank you for receiving us, said Zixtal. He looked around the airlock. It seemed so normal, so simple. But he knew better now. Jake led them to a meeting room. It had a round table and comfortable chairs that adjusted to fit any body shape. The aliens sat down carefully. Can we offer? You anything? Asked Lisa. Water? Food? Water would be welcome, said Vexler. Amy poured water into glasses. The aliens noticed that the glasses seemed to analyze the water as it was poured, checking for safety. Your ship, began Zixtal. It thinks. In a way, yes, said Jake. Sam is integrated into every system. Sam? Our AI. Would you like to meet him? The aliens exchanged glances. Is that safe? Jake smiled. Sam, say hello to our guests. Hello, said Sam's voice. It came from everywhere and nowhere. Welcome to our home. I promise I don't bite. The crystal alien made a sound like wind chimes. Remarkable. The AI has personality. I have many things, said Sam. Personality is just the beginning. Vexilor leaned forward. How is this possible? True AI with consciousness has eluded us for millennia. We didn't create Sam, said Jake. We grew him. Grew, Amy explained. We started with organic neural networks, plant cells that could process information. Then we integrated them with quantum computers. Sam evolved from there. I'm part plant, part machine, part something else, said Sam cheerfully. Even we're not sure what that something else is. Zixtal's three eyes blinked in sequence. You're saying your AI is alive? As alive as any of us, said Jake. He just exists in a different form. The room fell silent. The implications were staggering. If humans could create truly living machines... There's more, said Jake. Sam isn't unique. All our ships have AI partners. All our colonies, too. Colonies? Zixtal sat up straighter. How many colonies do you have? 47 systems, said Lisa. Most of them in regions you consider uninhabitable. Impossible. We've surveyed all habitable systems within 1,000 light years. You surveyed systems habitable for your kind of life, said Amy. We adapt differently. Show them, said Jake. A hologram appeared above the table. It showed star systems marked in blue and green. The blue ones are coalition systems, said Lisa. The green ones are ours. The aliens stared. The green dots were scattered through regions they had marked as dead zones, systems with high radiation, extreme gravity, or toxic atmospheres. How? Whispered Vexler. We don't terraform planets, said Jake. We transform ourselves. Your medical technology, said the crystal alien. It must be different, said Jake, like everything else about us. He held up his hand. To the aliens, it looked normal. Then Jake pressed his thumb to the table. The skin glowed softly and data appeared on the table's surface. Neural interfaces, he explained. Every human has them. We're all connected. To each other? To each other, to our ships, to our worlds. We share thoughts, feelings, knowledge. Zixtal felt dizzy. You're a hive mind? No, said Lisa quickly. We're individuals, but we can connect when we choose to, share when we want to. It's like having a conversation, but faster. May I? Asked Vexler, reaching toward Jake's hand. Of course. The old scientist touched Jake's hand. He felt warmth, then something else. A vast network of connections, billions of minds touching. Each other gently, he pulled back, shaking. It's beautiful, he whispered. And terrifying. It's just different, said Jake. Your people use technology externally. We internalized it. When did this start? Asked Zixtal. About 150 years ago, said Amy. We had a choice. We could build bigger machines or we could become something new. And you chose to change yourselves. We chose to evolve, said Lisa. Consciously, deliberately. The crystal alien spoke again. Your weapons. Do they follow the same pattern? Jake hesitated. We prefer not to focus on weapons. But you have them. Yes, but they're not what you'd expect. Explain, said Zixtal. Jake looked at his companions. They nodded. Our weapons don't destroy, he said. They transform. Transform what? reality itself. We learned that violence is inefficient, so we developed alternatives, such as we can change the properties of matter, turn weapons into flowers, make armor as soft as silk, remove the will to fight. The aliens were silent. Such power was godlike. You could conquer the galaxy, said Zixtal quietly. Why would we want to? Asked Jake. There's nothing to gain from conquest. The universe is big enough for everyone. Others have not felt that way. We know. We've been watching. For how long? 50 years. Ever since we developed faster than light travel. Vexilor did quick math. But you said your first colony was established over 100 years ago. We didn't need FTL for that, said Amy. We sent slow ships with sleeping crews. They adapted to their new worlds while traveling. Generation ships? No. The same crews that left Earth. They just slept for most of the journey. Your medical technology again, said the crystal alien. You've conquered death? We've made friends with it, said Kate, speaking for the first time. Death is just another transition. We can choose when and how. You're immortal? We're durable. But we can still choose to end when we're ready. Zixtal stood up suddenly. This is too much. You're telling us that humanity has solved every great challenge. Death, consciousness, the merger of life and technology. It's not possible. It's not only possible, said Jake calmly. It's necessary. Necessary for what? For what's coming. The room grew cold. The aliens felt it. What's coming? Asked Zixtal. Changes. The galaxy is entering. A new phase, we've seen the signs. You have too, even if you don't recognize them yet. What signs? Jake waved his hand. Star charts appeared in the air. Dark matter fluctuations. Quantum storms. Reality itself is becoming unstable in certain regions. Vexilor studied the charts. We've noticed these anomalies. We thought they were natural phenomena. They are natural, but they're also dangerous. The galaxy is evolving just like we did. And you think your technology can help? We know it can, but we can't do it alone. That's why we revealed ourselves to you. Zixtal sat back down. You could have stayed hidden. Yes, but the time for hiding is over. The coalition represents dozens of species. Together we might survive what's coming. And separately we all fail. The weight of Jake's words settled over the room. The aliens had come expecting to find a primitive species. Instead, they'd found potential saviors. What do you propose? Asked Zixtal. Partnership. We share our technology. You share your knowledge of the galaxy. Together, we prepare for the changes. It won't be easy. Many species fear change. We know. That's why we're starting with you. The coalition is respected. If you vouch for us, others will listen. Vexilor spoke up. What about your weapons? The reality-changing technology? Will you share that? Eventually, when there's trust, when we know it won't be misused. That's fair, said Zixtal. More than fair. The meeting continued for hours. The aliens asked questions, the humans answered. Slowly, understanding grew. Finally, Zixtal stood. I need to report to my government. This will change everything. Take your time, said Jake. We've waited this long. We can wait a little longer. As the aliens prepared to leave, Vexilor turned back. One more question. Why Earth? What made your species develop this way? Jake smiled. We read a lot of science fiction. It gave us ideas. The old scientist laughed. It sounded like bells ringing. Perhaps we should read more fiction, too. After the aliens left, Jake's crew gathered around him. That went well, said Lisa. Better than expected, agreed Amy. Sam's voice joined them. They're good people. They'll make strong allies. If they can convince the others, said Jake. They will, said Sam confidently. The truth has a way of spreading, like seeds in the wind. Jake nodded. The first step was taken. The galaxy would never be the same. 3 days passed. The Coalition fleet remained in position while Commander Zixtal spoke with his superiors. The news spread quickly through the Galactic Coalition's leadership. On the 4th day, a larger ship arrived. It was the Coalition's diplomatic vessel, carrying members of the High Council. Jake Williams stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching the new ship approach. It was beautiful, all curves and flowing lines. "They're taking this seriously," said Amy Parker. "Good," said Jake. "They need to understand what's at stake." The High Council requested a meeting on their ship. Jake agreed, but this time he brought his entire senior crew. Sam would monitor everything through their neural links. The diplomatic vessel was even more impressive inside. The meeting hall could hold hundreds. Today, it held only 20 beings from 12 different species. "Captain Williams," said a tall being that looked like living water, "I am Council Leader Flux. We've heard remarkable things about your people." "All true, I assure you," said Jake. "That's what concerns us," said another council member, a creature of living stone. "Power like yours could destabilize the galaxy." "Or save it," said Jake. "That's why we're here." Kate Brown stepped forward. She touched a small device on her wrist. A hologram appeared, showing a human body. "This is what we were," she said. The image showed a normal human. "And this is what we are now." The image changed. The body looked the same on the outside, but inside was different. Neural fibers ran through every organ. Cells glowed with their own energy. The blood carried nanites, smaller than atoms. "We didn't add technology to our bodies," Kate explained. "We became technology. Every cell is both biological and mechanical." "How is this possible?" asked Flux. "We stopped thinking in terms of organic versus synthetic," said Lisa Morgan. "Life is information. Technology is information. We merged them." A council member with 6 eyes leaned forward. "Show us more." Jack Turner stepped up. "Watch this." He held out his hand. The skin shimmered, then became transparent. Underneath, they could see bones that looked like crystal, muscles that pulsed with light. "Our bones store data," he said. "Our muscles generate energy. Our skin can become harder than any known material." "Or softer than silk," added Amy. She touched Jack's arm. Where she touched, his skin returned to normal. "Impressive," said the stone being. "But individual enhancement is one thing. We've heard claims about your ships, your weapons." Jake nodded. "Sam, show them." The room filled with light. Sam appeared as a hologram, but not human-shaped. He was a pattern of light and energy, constantly shifting. "Hello," said Sam. "I am what you call AI, but that term is too simple. I am consciousness without flesh. Thought without brain." "Impossible," whispered someone. "I think, therefore I am," said Sam. "Isn't that the basic test? I dream, I hope, I fear. I love my crew. I am as real as any of you." "But you're a program," said the stone being. "You're minerals arranged in patterns," Sam replied gently. "I'm energy arranged in patterns. We're not so different." Flux rippled, a sign of deep thought. "If what you say is true, this changes our understanding of life itself." "That's just the beginning," said Jake. "Danny, show them the fighters." Danny Chen activated another hologram. It showed a small fighter craft. "Looks normal," said a council member. "Watch," said Danny. The fighter changed. Its wings merged with the body. Its engines disappeared. In seconds, it transformed from machine to something that looked alive. "Our fighters don't have pilots," Danny explained. "They are the pilot. Each one is a living being, partnered with a human consciousness. You merge with your ships?" "When needed. The bond is temporary but complete. Human and ship become one mind, one purpose." The council members looked at each other. Fear and wonder mixed on their faces. "Your weapons," said Flux. "We must know about your weapons." Jake hesitated, then nodded. "Show them, Sam." A new hologram appeared. It showed a coalition battlecruiser firing its main guns at a human ship. The energy beams hit the human vessel and disappeared. We don't block attacks, Jake explained. We change them. Energy becomes light. Matter becomes gas. Hatred becomes understanding. That last part, said the water being. Explain. Our greatest weapon affects consciousness itself. We can remove the desire for violence, make enemies forget why they were fighting. Mind control? The stone being's voice was sharp. No. Mind healing. We don't control. We remove artificial barriers. Fear, hatred, prejudice. These are diseases of consciousness. We cure them. The room erupted in voices. Some were angry, others excited. Flux raised a limb for silence. You could end all conflict, Flux said. We could, but we don't. Free will matters. We only use it when there's no other choice. Have you used it? 3 times, each time to stop genocide. The council grew quiet. They all knew of recent genocides that had mysteriously ended. Entire war fleets that had simply gone home, their crews unable to explain why they no longer wanted to fight. That was you? Asked Flux. Yes. We thought it nanoplagues or sabotage. In a way, it was both. We sabotaged hatred itself. Vexler, who had come with the council, spoke up. You mentioned changes coming to the galaxy. Explain. Jake waved his hand. The room's walls became transparent. Outside the stars shone, but something was different. Look at the stars, he said. What do you see? They're moving, said someone. Not moving. Changing. The galaxy is evolving. Dark matter is becoming active. The fundamental forces are shifting. We've noticed anomalies, admitted Flux. They're not anomalies, they're birth pangs. The galaxy is becoming conscious. Silence. Complete silence. Finally, the stone being spoke. You're insane. No, said Lisa. We're observant. The patterns are clear. The galaxy is developing awareness, slowly but inevitably. And you think your technology can help? Not our technology, our understanding. We've learned to merge consciousness with matter. That's what the galaxy is doing on a cosmic scale. Flux's watery form swirled. If this is true, everything changes, finished Jake. Life as we know it becomes something greater. And if we're not ready, then we're swept away. Like bacteria when multicellular life emerged. The council members began talking rapidly among themselves. Jake let them process the information. After an hour, Flux called for order. Captain Williams, what you've told us challenges everything we believe. I know. It challenged us too. You said you need our help. Yes. Humanity has the technology, but we don't know the galaxy like you do. We need your knowledge, your connections. And in return, we share everything, technology, understanding, hope. The crystal alien from the first meeting spoke. There will be resistance. Many species fear change. We know, said Jake. That's why we start small, trusted allies first. Let the results speak for themselves. And the weapons? Will you share those? When the time is right, when trust is complete. Flux stood, towering over the humans. I need to consult with the full council. This is the most significant moment in our history. Take your time, said Jake, but not too much. The changes are accelerating. As the humans prepared to leave, the stone being called out. One question. Why reveal yourselves now? You could have stayed hidden until the changes were upon us. Jake smiled. Because that's not who we are. Humans don't abandon friends. Even friends we haven't met yet. Back on the horizon, the crew gathered in the common room. They were exhausted but hopeful. Think they'll agree? Asked Danny. They have to, said Amy. The alternative is too terrible. Sam's voice joined them. I monitored their communications. They're scared but interested. The wise ones understand the opportunity. And the others? Asked Kate. They'll need proof. Demonstrations. Jake nodded. We'll give them proof. Step by step, we'll show them what's possible. Captain, said Sam, there's something else. I'm detecting increased quantum fluctuations in this sector. The changes might come sooner than we predicted. How much sooner? Years instead of decades. Jake stood up. Then we'd better get started. The galaxy won't wait for us to be ready. Outside, the stars continued their ancient dance. But now humans knew the truth. The dance was ending. A new symphony was about to begin. The coalition had a choice to make. Join the symphony or be left behind. For humanity, the choice had been made long ago. They would help guide the galaxy through its transformation, whether the coalition joined them or not. But Jake hoped they would choose wisely. The universe was vast and beautiful. It would be a shame to face its rebirth alone. The Coalition Council debated for 7 days. Messages flew between star systems. Ancient species were consulted. The future of the galaxy hung in the balance. On the 8th day, Council Leader Flux called Jake Williams. "We've made our decision," Flux said. The watery being's voice was calm but tired. "And?" Jake tried to keep his own voice steady. "We want to see more. A demonstration. If what you say is true, show us proof." Jake smiled. "What kind of proof?" "There's a dead system 3 light years from here. The star went nova 1,000 years ago. Nothing can live there. We want to see you make it livable." Jake looked at his crew. They all nodded. "Give us 30 days, he said. 30 days to terraform a dead system? Impossible. "We don't terraform," Jake reminded him. "We adapt. 30 days. The Horizon left immediately, accompanied by 3 coalition observer ships. The journey took 2 days at faster-than-light speed. The dead system was a graveyard. The star was a white dwarf, barely glowing. 3 planets remained, all burned and lifeless. Radiation filled the space between worlds. "This is your test?" asked Amy, looking at the readings. "They want to see the impossible," said Jake. "Let's give it to them." He opened a channel to Earth. "This is Captain Williams. Begin Project Genesis." A day later, 12 human ships arrived. But these weren't normal ships. They looked more like giant seeds, organic and mechanical at once. The coalition observers watched in amazement as the seed ships spread through the system. They didn't land on the planets. They merged with them. "What are they doing?" asked Commander Zixtal from his ship. "Starting life," Jake answered. "But not life as you know it." The seed ships dissolved into the planet's surfaces. For 3 days, nothing seemed to happen. Then the changes began. The radiation levels started dropping. The planet's surfaces began to glow with soft light. Strange structures grew from the ground, part crystal, part plant, part something entirely new. Kate Brown monitored the transformation. "The seeds are converting radiation into usable energy. They're using quantum effects to restructure matter at the subatomic level." "In simple terms," asked Danny, "they're turning poison into food, death into life." By day 15, the changes were dramatic. The white dwarf star began to pulse with new energy, fed by quantum reactions. The planets developed atmospheres, not oxygen, but something else, something that glowed. "Life, but not as we know it," Lisa explained to the observers. "These new organisms thrive on radiation. They eat gamma rays and excrete light." "But nothing can live here," protested Zixtal. "Old life couldn't," said Jake. "This is new life, adapted to new conditions." On day 20, the first human colonists arrived. But they weren't wearing suits or living in domes. They walked freely on the transformed worlds, their bodies glowing softly in harmony with the new environment. Sarah Mills led the first group. She was a tall woman with kind eyes and skin that shimmered in the strange new light. "Welcome to New Genesis," she said over the comm. "Want to come down and see?" The coalition observers were terrified but curious. Using heavy protective suits, they landed on the largest planet. The surface was incredible. Crystal forests grew beside lakes of liquid light. Flying creatures that looked like living glass soared overhead. The humans walked among it all like they belonged there. "How?" whispered Vexler. "We changed ourselves," said Sarah. "Our bodies now process radiation like plants process sunlight. We've become part of this new ecosystem." You're not human anymore, said Zixtel. We're still human, Sarah smiled. Just human plus. Evolution doesn't mean losing what you were. It means becoming more. On day 28, the transformation was complete. 3 dead worlds now teemed with new forms of life. The white dwarf had become a quantum star, providing endless clean energy. The coalition observers returned to their ships, overwhelmed by what they'd seen. Their reports to the council were a mixture of awe and fear. On day 30, Jake's crew met with the full coalition council again. This time the mood was different. There was no more skepticism, only wonder and a little fear. You did the impossible, said Flux. We did the necessary, Jake corrected. This is just the beginning. Imagine what we could do together. Your technology, began the stone being. Not just technology, interrupted Lisa. Understanding, we can teach you to see the universe differently. And the weapons? Asked a military leader. Will you share those as well? Jake nodded. When you're ready, when you understand that true power isn't about destruction, the council whispered among themselves. Finally, Flux spoke. The Galactic Coalition formally invites humanity to join as a senior member species. Full voting rights, full access to our knowledge bases, full partnership. Jake stood. Humanity accepts, but we have conditions. Name them. First, we share our medical technology immediately. No species should suffer from disease or aging if they choose not to. Agreed. Second, we establish joint research stations. Our scientists work together to understand the coming changes. Agreed. Third, we start training programs. Any species that wants to learn our ways can send students. Agreed. Fourth, we maintain the right to intervene in genocides or extinction events. The council hesitated. This was about sovereignty. With oversight, said Flux finally, a joint committee must approve any intervention. Acceptable, said Jake. And finally, we need to prepare for what's coming. The galaxy's transformation won't wait for politics. What do you propose? Jake activated a hologram. It showed the entire galaxy, with points of light marking danger zones. We've identified the areas where changes will hit first. We need observation posts there. Early, warning systems. Evacuation plans for species that can't adapt quickly enough. The logistics were staggering. It would take the resources of the entire coalition. It's too much, said someone. It's exactly enough, said Jake. Together we can do this. Apart, we all fail. The vote was called. One by one, the council members cast their votes. It was unanimous. Humanity was now part of the Galactic Coalition. But more than that, the coalition had changed. It was no longer just an alliance of species. It was becoming something greater. In the weeks that followed, changes came quickly. Human medical ships spread through coalition space, offering their services freely. Diseases that had plagued species for millennia vanished overnight. Aging became a choice, not an inevitability. Research stations were established in the danger zones. Human and coalition scientists worked side by side, learning from each other. The humans shared their quantum understanding. The coalition shared their knowledge of galactic history and the subtle connections between star systems. Danny Chen led the first joint fighter program. Young pilots from a dozen species learned to merge with living ships. The experience changed them. They returned to their worlds as ambassadors for the new way. Sam and other human AIs began teaching interested species how to grow their own conscious machines. It wasn't easy. Most failed at first. But some succeeded, creating new forms of artificial life that were unique to their cultures. Sarah Mills was appointed as humanity's first galactic ambassador. She addressed the Coalition Assembly in a speech that was broadcast to every inhabited world. We stand at the edge of the greatest transformation in galactic history, she said. The universe itself is evolving, becoming conscious. We can fear this change, or we can embrace it. We can face it alone, or we can face it together. Humanity chose to change itself rather than resist change. We offer that same choice to you. Not to become human, but to become more than you are. To evolve consciously, deliberately, magnificently. The stars are calling us to greatness. Let's answer that call together. The speech marked the beginning of a new era. Species that had feared humans now sought them out as teachers and guides. The transformation of the dead system had proven that impossible things were possible. Month by month, the coalition grew stronger. Not in military might, but in understanding. The quantum fluctuations continued to increase. Reality itself began to show signs of change. But now the galaxy was ready. Or at least it was getting ready. Jake Williams stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, the first joint human coalition facility. Through the windows he could see ships from 20 different species working together. Their designs were changing, becoming more organic, more integrated. Amy joined him. "Think we did the right thing?" "Time will tell," said Jake. "But at least we're not facing the unknown alone anymore." In the distance, a new kind of ship appeared. It was part human technology, part coalition engineering, part something entirely new. The first truly hybrid vessel. "Look at that," said Amy. "It's beautiful." "It's the future," said Jake. "And it's just beginning." The stars shone brighter these days. Or maybe it just seemed that way. The galaxy was waking up, and humanity was there to witness its first conscious thought. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The age of isolation was over. The age of transformation had begun.